Oh, I do. Here are 5 more of my top moments during my transition. As in moments that, like, meant a lot to me or just were really memorable because they were so fucking funny. One time I had to go to the bathroom, so I went into the gas station and I asked for, like, the key or whatever, and she handed me the men's key and she says to me, "Don't piss all over the seat." I passed. She made my day. I have a biological son. A lot of you already know that. I had him before I started to transition. And kids don't care. Kids literally do not give a shit about somebody transitioning. They are very cut and dry. They just don't care as long as you're reliable, you're safe, you're compassionate. Who gives a shit? Well, one day, they were teaching my kid, like, names of people, because my kid didn't speak for a very long time, and he was just starting to talk. And they actually, I think, pointed to, like, my dad or something, but my kid thought they were pointing to me, and they go, "Who's that dude?" And my kid goes, "That's my mom." So now we're on number 3. My dad asked me one day, he's like, "Hey, when you use the men's room, do, like, dudes in there try to, like, start conversations with you and shit?" And I'm like, "Well, no, Dad. Like, I always thought that, like, when you go into the men's room, you're just supposed to be quiet and keep your head down." My dad's like, "No, that's the Alamo." After I had top surgery, I had to go to the ER, because I had a fever. They wanted to make sure I didn't have an infection or anything. So I'm talking to the dude in the intake department, right? And they had no chairs around. So I'm like, "Hey man, I just had a mastectomy." You have to say mastectomy, well I do where I live because nobody knows what the fuck top surgery is. So I said, "Hey, I just had a mastectomy, is there any way I can, like, get a chair to sit down?" And he's like, "Oh my god, right away, sir." And I was impressed because I just told this dude that I had an operation on my chest. Clearly, he could probably tell that I was transgender, and he was properly, like, gendering me. Impressive! Then he says, "So what was the date that you got your vasectomy?" He thought I said I had a vasectomy. My husband, he's also a trans man, and he passes beautifully. He looks like a fucking lumberjack. Love it. But I asked him, I'm like, "Hey, I'm like a real, like, high-strung, energetic, friendly person. Like, if somebody passes me, I'm like, like I smile, I wave. I'm like, what do you do when, like, men look at you or pass you? Like, how do you, like, communicate, like, a greeting in a friendly manner?" My husband's like, "You grunt." I'm like, "You grunt?" He's like, "Yeah, men just grunt at each other." I'm like, "So if a dude, like, passes my way, instead of going like that, I should be like," He's like, "Oh my god, not like that, just never mind."